we are now ready to stitch the edge between the two halves. Oh, by the way, all of my back basting has been done with the quick prep stitch. I have a video that tells you how to do that in case you don't already know. I will need a needle threaded with silk thread that matches the bottom half of my leaf. And I am also going to need, in addition to my cuticle stick, I'm going to need a regular toothpick for this particular technique. So with those at hand, I am going to begin. I am clipping my stitches between the top half and the bottom half. Looks like I pulled one out. Well, that's okay. I'll show you. It doesn't matter. You can pull one out and still make it work. I'm going to clip every other stitch. Okay. Now, I know approximately, the first stitch is missing up here, and that happens sometimes. But notice, the width of my cuticle stick is about the width of my seam allowance. So if I take and just turn it under that same width, I have a nice seam allowance. I need to gently lift this next stitch. It's holding it down a little bit. There we go. Now I can turn it under all the way. All right. Now, it's very important at this point in time that I do not stitch through the background fabric. And that is why I have a toothpick. I am going to slide that toothpick underneath where I will be taking a stitch. Maybe I get just a wee bit closer, okay? How's that? I have gone between the background fabric and my top leaf. So I'm right down at the spot where the two meet. I am going to slide a toothpick under there, and you can see it is not in the background fabric. I will take and I'm going to bury my knot in the top here, right in the fold of the dark green. And my knot is going to go right in there and be buried. I'm keeping my toothpick underneath where I will be taking a stitch. So I'm going to take an applique stitch, and I'm actually going to bounce my needle, the point of my needle, off of my toothpick, being sure to not take any stitches in the background. Let's do another one. I'm going to move my toothpick over just a wee bit. I am going to take another little stitch, applique stitch. I'm going to push out the fold. Pull it on through. I have not stitched in the bottom, in the background at all. Okay, as I get up here, I'm going to go ahead and turn under the next little section, gently lifting that. It popped out on me, didn't it? Let's just get it out of there. Okay, and about the width of my cuticle stick, I'm going to take and turn it under. Make it nice and smooth. If I need to, like I got it just a little bit too deep, I'm going to grab my needle and just pull it back out. The point of the needle, pull it back out to where I want it. There, it makes a nice, pretty curve. By the way, be sure you look at that curve before you put in the next stitch. This is where beautiful applique is made, and you want to be sure that that edge is just exactly the way you want it. Move my toothpick down and take another little stitch. I am going to do this using a toothpick until I am about 1/4 of an inch in from the basted edge. Each time I bounce my point of my needle off the toothpick. Let me go ahead. I'm going to stitch out. Well, I'm almost to the 1/4 inch now, and you can see that. Once I have 1/4 inch or so on the inside of the leaf, I can pull out the toothpick, and then I can just do my regular applique and catch the background or not as it works. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and stitch down to within 1/4 of an inch of the end. Be right back. Okay, I'm about 1/4 of an inch inside my black basting thread here. Let me turn this under the last little bit. There we go. I'll get that thread. My thread up here is in the road. I'm just going to take it out, and I'm going to turn this under nice and smooth. There we go. Look it over. You want that edge to be nice and smooth. And then you can go ahead. Now we're going into the last 1/4 of an inch on the bottom down here. And I am going to once again insert a toothpick underneath where I will be making my first stitch. That it is just above the background fabric and just below the fabric of the top half of the leaf. I'll bounce off the point, off of the toothpick. The point of my needle bounces off the toothpick, and I push forward and come out the fold. And finish it up. I adjust my toothpick whenever I need to make it come out just perfectly. This top half, this basting thread is kind of in the road, so why don't I just clip it shorter so we can see what's going on. There we go, much better. Now you can see that I have moved down. I'll just do a couple more stitches. These stitches, last stitches, are in the seam allowance, and that's okay. Once I have that done, I am going to take the point of my needle. I'm going to go underneath here. Oopsie. Wouldn't you know it, you always get a little knot just when you don't want it. There we go. Pop it out. Okay, I have now left it open under here. You can see I have no stitches there. Okay. I'm clipping about maybe 2/3 of the way in. You don't want to go too far. You'll get little pokies going in instead of out. Let you relieve the seam. That's just fine. Then back here, right where I have taken my thread out, I can take and flip it under. I can flip it under because I did not stitch this seam through the background. I have 1/4 of an inch at that edge in which I can turn under. Let me get up here. Can you see that now? I've turned it under and I have a nice, very smooth edge here. I can go ahead and do my regular applique. I can do that all the way down and back up, which I shall do, and I'll see you back up here in just a little bit. As you can see, I'm just about done with the bottom half of the leaf. As I approach the point where the two meet, I'm able to take and just flip under after I cut my basting thread, flip the seam under. And look at what happens when I do that. Gonna have to use my other end here. Here it goes. There we go. Now, finger press it really good. You want it to hold there. And then look at what we've got right up here at the very, very point. Can you see? Let's see if we can get even closer. Can you see that? This has flipped under evenly all the way across here. And we have a perfect little point right here. Nice and sharp. So what I'm going to do next will be to finish the dark green on the bottom. I'm then going to thread my needle with a lighter shade of green that will match the top half just a little bit better. And I will complete the top half. And here is my completed split leaf. Thank you so much for watching. I've enjoyed sharing this with you.